Hello there, welcome back to the Lazy Arquitecto show where we teach you AutoCAD so you can save time, effort, and money. As always, we're gonna read some of your comments before we start today's live show. If you are new to the show, my name is Irving and I show up here on YouTube as well as on Facebook with a new live stream regarding AutoCAD. So we do this every Sunday at 10 a.m. and that is Pennsylvania, United States time. So if you are interested on saving time in AutoCAD, consider joining us each Sunday. We have our first comment on the chat from Rocky. Rocky says he's here. Thank you for being here today, Rocky. Um, that's awesome that more people are finding our live streams. That's very excited. So thank you, Rocky. Um, we have also Raula on the chat. Raula says hello. Uh, nice to see you, Raula. I know you're a fan of the show because I see you here each week, each Sunday. That's awesome. So we're gonna learn AutoCAD today. Some of the most important concepts that you need to know as a total beginner, of course. So hopefully you can learn something new and find the job that you need or yeah. So thank you, Rola. Um, All right. As always, you can interrupt me at any time during this live show because, again, I like to create that interaction. This is live, so it's not just me talking all the time. If you have questions, just put it on the chat and I'll be able to answer them. We have Ali Nahi on the chat. Good morning, she says, or he, I don't know by the name, I cannot tell, but I think you're new to the show. That's awesome that again more people are finding our live streams. Um, so thank you for being here today. Um, Facebook users is very nice. What's your actual name, your real name, Facebook user? But thank you for being here with us today live, right? So we have another comment. Ali says he, not she. That's awesome, Ali. Now I know how to refer to you, right? That's awesome. Thank you for letting me know. Um, we have Abdul also on the chat. He says, hi, dear. Hi, Abdul. Thank you for being here today where we're going to learn AutoCAD live as a total beginner, right? With this architectural exercise that I'm going to show you in a moment before I finish reading some of your comments. Thank you for being here, Abdul. Abdul also says, yes, I'm new. Yeah, so for people who are new to the live streams, my name is Irving. I'm an AutoCAD certified professional. I also work as an architectural designer, and I'm actually a current architecture student. Yes, so hopefully in the future I'll be a architect. So again, people who are new, we do these live streams each Sunday around 10 a.m. That is Pennsylvania, United States time. So if you want to show up here, you can do it. So thank you, Ali, for being here. And we have 8 people connected. I think we're ready to start today's live stream. Again, you can interrupt me at any time. So let's do this. All right. So first of all, um, since this is a total beginner tutorial. So of course, we're gonna have our AutoCAD icon on the screen. So to open it, we can simply double click on it to launch AutoCAD. So right now, AutoCAD is launching on my second screen, but as you can see, now we have AutoCAD open. So if you are totally new to AutoCAD, again, don't get scared. Simply over here, it's a user interface that AutoCAD is giving you, showing you some recent documents that you used in the past, some announcements over here at the right, and here AutoCAD is giving you the options to open an existing drawing or open a brand new drawing with these two options. So let me show. Oh, we have one comment on the chat before we continue. It's Felicia Hernandez says, Buenos dias, Lazy Arquitecto. Good morning, Felicia. Thank you for being here today. That's awesome. Right. So I'm gonna, in order for you to enjoy a more cleaner screen, I'm gonna hide myself from the live. So I'm gonna put it like so you can see better, right? So let's continue. So we have AutoCAD here. What I like to do is open a brand new drawing, and for this specific example, I'm gonna simply open this new option, click on it to create a drawing, and AutoCAD is gonna open, as you can see, drawing number 1 over here. So in order to start drawing in AutoCAD, what we need to do is go to model space. So right now we are on layout, also known as paper space, but let's go to model space by clicking on it like so, right? So what I like to do now is so show you the drawing that we are gonna use to learn AutoCAD today, right? So in order to do so, let me go over here on my Windows Explorer folder. And the drawing that we're gonna use, or the exercise, is this over here. So it's a PDF. So let me, in order to insert it in AutoCAD, or let me first open it by double clicking on it, right? So it's this kitchen layout over here, an architectural kitchen layout using imperial units. Feet, that means feet and inches because I am in the US. But this is the exercise that we're gonna do today. So I'm gonna close this because what I like to do is first insert this PDF inside AutoCAD. So that way I can reference this drawing in a more efficient way. So what I'm gonna do is simply left click and holding it, I'm gonna drag it to AutoCAD to model space, as you can see it. So I'm gonna release it over here, and then you can see that there is this command line, it's called, on the bottom, that it's gonna give you instructions as to what to do next for each tool or command in AutoCAD. So once I release the PDF, AutoCAD is kind of helping me saying enter the page number. So right now it says 1. I know my PDF has only 1 page. So I'm gonna press enter to accept that 1 or page number 1. So once I press enter, we can see that we have more instructions. Now AutoCAD is saying specify insertion point. So I'm gonna click to specify an insertion point, and right now I don't care where I'm gonna click because again this PDF is only for reference. So I'm gonna click over here like so, and then again AutoCAD is giving me more instructions as to specify the scale factor, or is giving you the number 1. So again, I don't care about the scale at this moment, so I'm gonna press enter to accept the number 1. So enter. And then again, more instructions from AutoCAD says specify rotation. So it's giving you the number 0. I want to accept that number 0 rotation, so I'm gonna simply press enter one more time. So once I do that, finally AutoCAD is not giving me any more instructions. That means I'm done inserting my PDF, and you can see it's right here as a PDF. So now, now that we have this PDF over here, you can see it that it says PDF underlay. So what I like to do is clicking or left clicking this, it's called a drawing tab. You can simply hold and move in it like so. So that way we can arrange this by resizing it from the side like so, and then moving it all the way up here to the corner. So that way we can reference this while we draw in AutoCAD, right? So I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller, something like this. All right. So now that I have it over here on this corner, what we need to do is pin it by clicking this pin icon like so. So that way this window stays or show up all the time here while we start drawing here in AutoCAD. All right. So now let's start drawing. But before, we have someone on the chat. So um, it's Duff Dude. Is just giving us the thumbs up. Thank you for being here today. Hopefully, you can learn AutoCAD and find the job that you want, or expand your knowledge with this AutoCAD software. So let's keep moving. Now that we have successfully pinned our reference drawing that we're gonna use, let's start now creating another drawing. But this time, what I like to do is, instead of clicking randomly this new option, I'm gonna go on the AutoCAD icon over here on my corner and click on it. And this way we also have many different options. The option that I want is the new, and then drawing, of course. So once I select that option, we can see that AutoCAD is giving us all of these different templates. And the beauty of this is that we can pick the units or the template that we need. For instance, this tutorial arch is for imperial units architectural, and this other one, imperial for mechanical, M for metric architectural, and M for metric mechanical. So that's the beauty of starting a drawing from the AutoCAD logo or icon. So I'm gonna pick the imperial architectural because, again, I'm in the United States and this drawing is on feet and inches, so that means have imperial units. So I'm gonna open that up, and as you can see, again, AutoCAD is placing or creating this drawing number 2, and we are in layout space, or also called paper. This is where we're gonna print. Don't worry about this, we're gonna talk about this later, but let's go to model space by clicking on it. And now we can start drawing our kitchen layout following our reference drawing over here at the top corner. And that's a more efficient way to start drawing in AutoCAD. So let's start. And before we start drawing, let me quickly since again this is a tutorial for a total beginner, right? Let me quickly give you an introduction of the interface. So here, this is called the ribbon, and we're gonna find all of our tools and commands uh, to draw in AutoCAD. So then we'll have these drawing tabs. We can have multiple drawing opens over here, drawing 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so on. So then, of course, we have the model space here where we're gonna draw. And then down here, we have the command line. This rectangle is the command line that is gonna give us instructions whenever we use a tool or a command. Down here we have model and layout, or also paper space. Whenever we want to draw, we'll go to model, and whenever we want to print, we will go to layout or paper. And finally, over here, we have the status bar. The status bar on this corner is a way to draw with precision in AutoCAD. So we have many different options that we will be using while drawing our kitchen layout. So that was a quick introduction to the interface of AutoCAD. So for total beginners, at least they have an idea so they don't get lost. All right, so let's start drawing now. Okay, so oops, I forgot. This over here is the origin. We can set our origin. This is at 0,0 origin point, and this is a way to locate yourself so you don't get lost on an unlimited model space size, right? So this is a way for you to locate yourself always on the 0,0 origin point, and that's where we're gonna start drawing. So okay, so let's start. All right, so let's quickly analyze our kitchen layout over here. It's a floor plan of a kitchen. And let's see, this kitchen is around 7 feet width by 8 feet in length. So let's start with those two dimensions, 7 feet and 8 feet. Why? Well, because those are the bigger dimensions on our plan. So I like to start from the outside and work all my way in. So let's do that. So let's go back over here. And to start, we can start using our first tool or command in AutoCAD, and that's gonna be the rectangle command. The rectangle command is over here at the ribbon, and if we hover on it, we can see some instructions as to how to use it. It says creates a rectangular polyline and so on. So we can click to start the rectangle command, but what I like to recommend here is try to get used to the keyboard shortcuts for each command or tool. So let's cancel that. To cancel any command, we can simply use the escape key on your keyboard, like so. So the keyboard shortcut for the rectangle command is REC. So once you press enter, again you can see you're using the rectangle command. And let's follow the instructions, right? Because we don't know anything about the rectangle command. We are total beginners. We are learning. So let's see, it says specify first corner point. Okay, so that means I need to click somewhere on my screen. But where? Well, as I was suggesting you, we should start from the 0,0 origin point over here. So that's what I'm gonna type, 0,0, and then I can press enter. So once I do that, you can see that I'm starting exactly on this origin point. All right, so let's keep moving with the instructions now. It says now on the command line, specify other corner point. So I could click another point, a random point over here or over here or over here, but I don't want a random point or dimension. I want to create my 8 feet by 7 feet rectangle for my kitchen, right? So let's keep reading on instructions. It's giving me also the option to pick an area, a dimension, or a rotation. What I'm interested in is dimensions. So let's click on it, dimensions. And now you can see that AutoCAD changed the instructions. Now says specify the length for the rectangle. So the length for my rectangle is going to be 8 feet. So I can type 8 feet like so, and then simply press enter. Now, again, the instructions change. AutoCAD is saying specify the width for the rectangle. So my width would be 7 feet over here. So I'm gonna type 7 feet and finally press enter. So once I do that, you can see that my rectangle shows up. So I'm gonna zoom in. To zoom in into your drawing, you can simply scroll your middle mouse wheel like so. So you can zoom in into your drawing and you can see better. So over here, we're still inside the rectangle command. So if we move our cursor, we can see that we need to place our rectangle. So finally, the instruction says specify other corner point. So I'm gonna click up over here anywhere. So like so, click. So that way I can finally finish the rectangle command. You can see there are no more instructions and I have my rectangle ready over here. So to zoom in again, I'm gonna scroll my middle mouse wheel like so. And to pan, you can simply hold your middle mouse wheel like so and simply pan and move it, holding it your middle mouse wheel. So again, zoom in, zoom out, scrolling the wheel and panning, simply click and hold it and moving it like so. All right, so we started and we have our 8 feet by 7 feet outline for our kitchen. So what I like to do next is introduce you another tool or command in AutoCAD um, that is called offset. Offset is over here on the modify tool or modify ribbon panel. So it's right here, offset. And what it does is it creates parallel lines. So that's what we're gonna need to offset or create these um, these lines over here. So it's about 1 inch. You can see this is 1 inch in dimension. So 1 inch and then 4 inches over here for this wall. So let's do that. So again, we can click on the offset or we can use its keyboard shortcut. So let's use the keyboard shortcut for the offset. It's simply the letter O. So once we press O and press enter, we activated the offset command. And again, we don't know anything about offset. Help us, AutoCAD, please. So it's saying specify offset distance. Okay, so we know we need a distance of 1 inch. So let's type 1 and press enter. So once we do that, we can again select or follow instructions is saying select object to offset. So of course I want to offset my rectangle, so I'm gonna click on it. And then we have new instructions that says specify point on side to offset. So you can see that if I move up it's going to offset in that direction. If I move down, it's going to offset on the other direction. So this depends again on your reference drawing, and we want to keep the 8 feet by 7 feet. So that means we need to move it up. So again, it says specify point. So that means I need to click on my screen. So instead of moving down, I'm going to move up and click anywhere over here, like so. Click. And you can see that I offsetted this rectangle parallel about 1 inch. So that's what we have right here. And now we need to offset it 4 inches because that's the thickness of this wall, 4 inches. So at this point, I could simply cancel or press escape, right? Because I finished this. But I could activate again the offset command to offset 4 inches. However, there is a better way to repeat the last command in AutoCAD, and it is by simply pressing the enter. So look what happened once I press enter. You can see that AutoCAD remembers the last command, in this case offset. So that way I can work more efficient. So now again I need a distance, in this case 4 inches. I'm going to type 4, press enter, and we already know how to work with the offset. So let's do it again. Select my object. So I want to offset this rectangle. So I'm going to click on it. And then I need to pick a point. So again, if I move it down, it will offset in this direction. If I move it up, it will offset. So based on our reference drawing, we need to offset it up. So let's click somewhere over here, click, and now we are ready. We can simply press escape to finish our offset command. Awesome. So you can see how we already worked out on this kitchen layout and how we have the overall 7 feet by 8 feet, and we also have the offset of about 1 inch over here, and also the 4 inches for the wall. Great. So let's keep moving to finish this kitchen layout. And the next thing I like to do is start working from my way up here. So start creating these lines at 2 feet 4, and then another horizontal line at 2 feet 8, and keep working my way out. So before we do that, we have somebody on the chat, and again, I like to read your comments because this is a live show. It's not just me talking and talking. This is a better way to interact with you. And his Facebook user says, "Good one." Facebook user, if you can give us your real name, that would be awesome, so I can talk to you with your real name. But let's keep moving. So what I like to do next is, again, so let's draw these horizontal lines at 2 feet 4 first. So in order to do that, again, I need to zoom in with my middle mouse wheel, scrolling it. So I'm gonna draw a line, of course, at 2 feet 4. So yeah, 2 feet 4 from here, from the kitchen. Okay. All right. So in order to do that, I'm gonna introduce you another command called line. So line is over here on your ribbon, and it creates straight line segments. But before I click on it, I'm gonna give you its keyboard shortcut. Its keyboard shortcut is the letter L. So once I press enter, I can see that AutoCAD is giving me instructions to use the line command. It says specify first point. So I can click my point over here. And let me show you first how many beginner users do this in AutoCAD, right? And then I'll show you a better way to do it. So many beginners users will probably specify the first point, of course, over here, click, and then following my instructions on the command line, it says specify next point. So that means I need to click another point on my screen to start drawing my lines. So I'm gonna click over here on the perpendicular um, precision setting. By the way, if you're not seeing this perpendicular, you will need to activate it under the object snaps. So if you click this triangle, you can see that you have many different precision settings here. So the one that I was talking about is this perpendicular. So if this is unchecked, you can see that I cannot snap on this other line precisely. So that's why we need to activate by clicking again here on the triangle and check the perpendicular precision settings. So once I do that, I can click over here, and then to finish my line, I can simply press escape. So many, again, beginners will draw the line over here and then move the line to their specific distance, in this case 2 feet 4. So by selecting the line and using the move command, the move command is also here on your ribbon, is right here, move, and again it simply moved an object, but its keyboard shortcut is the letter M. So once we press press enter, we can move this line, and it says again, the instruction says specify base point. So my base point is gonna be over here in this corner, so click on it, and then the instructions now says specify second point. So my second point gotta be at a distance of 2 feet 4, right? So but as you can see, I'm not moving my object or line straight or straight. So what I need is another precision setting. Again, from the status bar, this is where you're gonna find all of your precision settings. In this case, we need the ortho mode. So the ortho mode will help us draw lines horizontally and vertically. So let's click on it. So once it's blue, that means it's activated. So now you can see if I move my cursor down, it will move nicely and straight down. So at this point, I need to specify my second point, or I can type the distance of 2 feet 4. So I'm going to type 2 feet 4, and then I can press enter. So once I do that, you can see that I successfully moved my line like so. Now, you can see that this took a lot of time to just draw a line at 2 feet 4 distance from this point. So let me show you now how, or a more efficient way to do this, right? Because when we are beginners, again, we sometimes do things the longer way. So let me show you now how you can do it more efficient. So let's try to do the 2 feet 8 horizontal line over here, this one. So let's do it. Let's zoom in, scrolling our middle mouse wheel. And again, I'm going to use the line command. And since the line command was the last used command, I'm going to simply press enter. Oh, no. The last command was move, not line. So let's cancel that with escape. And let's use the L shortcut for the line command. So now that we have the line command, we can specify our first point. But I like to specify my first point over here down at 2 feet 8 distance. So how do I do that? So this is where we're gonna need another precision setting. So let's click this triangular over here and let's go to the object snap settings. So let's click on it and you can see that I have my object snap tracking on. So right now I have it on. So that means, so let's click OK. That means that if I hover over this corner or endpoint, I can simply, without clicking on it, of course, I'm just hovering or putting my cursor above it without clicking on it, I can move down and you can see there is a X, wide X symbol. That means at this point I can simply type my distance to start my line. So if I type 2 feet 8, like so, and then press enter, you can see that I'm starting my line at a distance exactly of 2 feet 8. So this way we can avoid using the move command to start drawing our lines. Isn't that great? So of course at this point I can simply move to the left and click over here like so, and then I can press escape. Awesome. So you can see how quickly and more efficient you draw your second line at a specific distance. So yeah, so let's keep moving. But before we continue, we have another comment on the chat, and it's Eduardo. Eduardo says, "Saludos a todos, compañeros." Eduardo is basically saying, hello to everyone connected. So yeah, by the way, people who don't know, my first language is Spanish because I'm originally from Peru in South America. So yeah, thank you, Eduardo. So let's keep moving. Thank you for being here. All right, so let's apply the same procedure to start drawing our next lines for this window, and then for this other opening, and so on. All right, so for this other opening we have 1 inch over here and then 2 feet. So yep, so we have 2 feet. So let's draw another line. So we know how to do it this time. So L, enter, and then we have 2 feet over here and then 1 inch. So I'm gonna draw a line from here, from this corner. So I'm gonna move that down and simply say 2 feet, press enter, and then I can finalize my line by clicking over here like so and press escape. All right, so you can see how quickly I draw this line 2 feet from this point. So let's keep moving now. So we have 2 feet and then we have 3 feet. So again, another way to do this is using the offset command. So let me show you that method. Simply, we already used the offset command. The shortcut was O, press enter, and we need an offset of 3 feet. So let's type 3 feet and press enter. And now let's select our object, this line, click, move it down, and you can see another line shows up. I can simply click and you can see I have 3 feet offset over here. Great. Now, for this window, we have a 3 feet window over here, but we don't know the distance from the side, but we know it's exactly on the center of the wall. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's draw a line. Again, L, enter, and we have, let's draw a line over here from this point and click and press escape. So now I'm gonna offset this with the O shortcut. press enter. And now 3 feet. Yes, that's the one that I need, 3 feet for my window. So I'm gonna accept these 3 feet by simply press enter, and then I can offset this line, move to the left, and press escape. So once I have this window, I can simply select both lines. By the way, let me quickly show you some techniques to select objects. So we have the green crossing selection, or the green window. That means is from right to left, and this will select all of the objects that are being touched by this green rectangle. So if I touch a little bit of this line, a tiny bit like here, you can see that it's gonna get selected. Now we also have the blue window selection. That means it's from left to right, and this means it will only select the objects that are inside this blue. So if I get, let's see, a little bit of this line, it's not gonna get selected, you can see. So I need to make sure the objects are inside. So if I click like so, you can see that only my 2 lines for my windows are being selected. So that's what I want right now. So how do I move this window in the center of my wall? So let me show you one of your first tricks in AutoCAD. And so once I have it selected, again using my blue windows like so, I can use the move command. So the move command, we already used it before, is the keyboard shortcut M, press enter. Now I need a way to select my window exactly from the center, so I can place it on the center of the room. So how do I do that? Well, you can hold shift on your keyboard and then right click on your mouse, and then you will have many different options. Again, shift on your keyboard and right click on your mouse to see all of these different options. The options that we need is the middle between 2 points. So let's select that by left click on it. And now let's follow the instructions. It says specify base point. So first point of middle. So our first point is gonna be this, click, and then it's asking for our second point. It's gonna be this other line, so click. And now you can see that we are moving our 2 lines that represent our window exactly from the middle. So that's the trick, the middle between 2 points. So this way we can place it exactly on the middle of our wall. So let's move here, and we simply need our midpoint. If you're not seeing your midpoint, that means again of this line is the middle, so the midpoint. So if you're not seeing it, click this triangle over here, and there is the option for midpoint. So make sure that's checked. So again, if you have that on, you can simply click on your midpoint and you will have your window exactly on the middle of your wall. All right. So that's one of your first tricks in AutoCAD, how to move exactly things from the middle when you don't have a dimension in this case, or a distance. All right, so let's keep moving. We have already this opening, this other opening for the window, this other opening, and yeah, so we completed all of our openings. So now the next step is to trim or erase part of the objects that we don't need. For example, we don't need this line over here. And also over here, we don't need any lines like we have right now. So let's do that. And for that, we're gonna introduce you another tool. And this tool is called the trim tool. So the trim tool, it's also, again, all of our tools are here at the ribbon. Um, so, but what I like to use is, so the trim is right here. You can see it, trim. But I like to teach you the keyboard shortcut. Why? Because it's a more efficient way to work in AutoCAD. So let's use the TR. That would be the shortcut for the trim command. Let's press enter and let's follow our instructions on the command line. So it says select object to trim. I'm gonna trim first this opening over here. So I can simply click and start trimming my objects by clicking over here like so, and I will have my first opening. So the same idea, I can start clicking individual objects like this, one by one, like so, right? So for my window, let's see, let's zoom in to see what's happening over here. So for my window, we don't need to trim it, but we need to draw a couple more lines, 1 inch, about 1 inch. We know that this distance is 1 inch, so the window trim is also about 1 inch. So let's do that over here. So with another line, so L, enter, and we need to hover over here and move it to the right, and we can type 1, press enter, and move up till this other line. So here, click, then I can press escape. Right. So let me introduce you another tool or command. It's called mirror. Um, I could simply draw another line over here, right, to represent my other window trim, but I want to introduce you more and more tools in AutoCAD. So the mirror command, uh, you can simply copy objects from one side to the other. So it's the keyboard shortcut is MI for mirror, and let's press enter. And following the instructions, says select objects. I'm gonna select this object, of course, and then I'm gonna press enter. Once I do that, I have new instructions saying specify first point of mirror line. So that means I need to specify the middle of my uh, imaginary mirror line. So I'm gonna click this midpoint because I want this to be mirrored in this other side. So I'm gonna click here, and then we have more instructions as specify second point of mirror line. So you can see if I move down, a new line shows up here. If I move up, also the line shows up here. But if I move to the left, it will mirror down. And if I move to the right, it will again mirror my line down. So what I need is to move either up or down and click like so. So now finally the mirror command is asking erase source objects. That means, do I want to AutoCAD to erase this line? I would say no. So no is over here. So that means if I press enter, I will say no to AutoCAD. So I'm gonna press enter and boom. Now I finished my mirror command and I have 2 lines for my window. Finally, I need a center line over here. So I can simply use the line command again, L enter, and use my midpoint and click, and finally click on the other side like so. So I can press enter, escape to finish my line command. So yeah, So we completed our walls as well as our window for this kitchen layout. So yeah, so far, if you have questions, just put it on the chat and I'll be able to answer them. We have, before we continue, we have a comment on the chat, and his Facebook user says, "Thank you for your help, Lazy." No problem. Facebook user, you're still, don't tell me your name, but let's keep moving. All right. So what I like to draw next is start drawing um, from this corner, the refrigerator. This is a refrigerator, so it's 2 feet 9, and yeah, so let's draw that. So 2 feet 9, and it's also 2 feet 4. So 2 feet 9 by 2 feet 4. So let's do that. So let me introduce you a new command or tool. Again, there are many ways to work in AutoCAD, right? There are, oh my God, I can draw this using rectangles. Another person can draw this using only lines. But for the purpose of this live stream, I like to show you a different ways so you can learn new tools. So let me introduce you a new tool called Polyline. So the Polyline is right here on your ribbon, and what it does is it creates 2D polylines, or simply lines that are together as one single object. So let's use it with its keyboard shortcut EL. So that's for polyline. Let's press enter. And we need 2 feet 9 by 2 feet 4. That's the refrigerator. So what I'm gonna do is click over here on this point and move to the right and type 2 feet 9, because that's what the instruction says, specify next point. So I want the next point to be 2 feet 9. So I move to the right and type 2 feet 9 and press enter. So once I do that, you can see that I'm on this point right now. So I need to move down now, and the distance is 2 feet 4. So I'm gonna move down, and it says specify next point, 2 feet, oops, 2 feet 4. Press enter, and you can see now I'm on this point. So now I don't need to specify again my distance, because I know it goes all the way up till here. So I can click and finally click over here, or simply um, use the close option, so it can automatically close to my started point. So if I click close, you can see that I finished the polyline command and I have a object. So if I select it, that's a polyline. We can see it over here, or yeah, so that's the polyline command. And again, it's simply multiple lines connected into one single object. So that's our refrigerator, and we have one more line over here that it's about, we know this is 1 inch, so this would be also 1 inch. So let's do that quickly with the line command. L, press enter, and then hover over here, we move up 1, press enter, and then we will finish our refrigerator by clicking over here and press escape. Yeah, so we quickly finalize our refrigerator. Let's keep moving now with this. There is a 1 inch space, and then we have 5 feet 2 for the overall counter where the kitchen is. So that's 5 feet 2 by 2 feet over here. So let's do that quickly. So now let's use the rectangle again. So REC, press enter. Again, I'm using different methods to draw this just for you to learn different tools, right? So in this case, I'm gonna use the rectangle. So I'm gonna, um, so it's 5 feet 2 by 2 feet. So I'm gonna randomly draw it over here. So I'm gonna click here, and then the dimensions option, of course, and then the length, it's 5 feet 2. So I'm gonna type 5 feet 2, press enter, and then the width is 2 feet. So I'm gonna type 2 feet and press enter, and you can see I have my rectangle over here. Finally, I need to specify the corner point. At this point, I don't care anywhere. I can simply click like so, and I'll have. Now I know that it goes exactly on this corner, 1 inch in both sides. So I can simply move, selecting my rectangle, click the M for the keyboard shortcut for move, press enter, specify base point. So I need to grab my rectangle from this corner so I can place it exactly on this corner, right? So I'm gonna click here once, and then says specify second point. So I'm gonna zoom in and place it exactly on this corner like so. Awesome. So that's our kitchen counter. Now we need our kitchen at 1 foot 9. So let's do that quickly with a line. L, enter, and then so we need 1 foot 9. Again, hover on this corner, move to the left at 1 foot 9, press enter, and we have our starting line that we can move down and click like so. Press escape, and boom, we have our kitchen. The same idea for the 3 inches for this line. I'm gonna do it quicker now. Line, enter, hover, move down 3 inches, enter, move to the left, click, and escape. So once you start practicing these moves, is gonna be very natural and more quicker to do it. So again, I've been working with AutoCAD many years, so that's I already got used to it. So we have our kitchen there. Before we proceed, we have a comment on the chat, and again, I like to be this an interactive to live show, right? Because we are live, we're not just. So we have Xiomara Araujo says, I was seeing you on Facebook, but for some reason you couldn't read my name. Thank you for your lazy work. Help me a lot. Um, Thank you, Xiomara, for being here. And I don't know what happened because I'm live on Facebook too. Maybe that's a Facebook problem. But thank you for letting me know. Uh, and we have another comment from Ali. It says, can I specify a corner point of rectangle offset from another known point? The offset is in X and Y by using at in command. Please, if you know that, let me know. I think, Ali, you're referring to how we can start the rectangle command from a certain point using the at symbol. Yes, so we could also do that if we have exactly the coordinates for where we want to start our rectangle, right? But in this case, based on our reference drawing, we don't have what coordinate we can start our rectangle. We know is 1 inch, so we could start our rectangle 1 inch from here also. Let me show you how to do that with this other counter, right? Or this sync over here. But that's a good comment, Ali. So let's keep moving to finish this up. And so let's finish our oven over here. So we need to draw some circles over here. So the first circle is has 8 inches in so R means radius, and this symbol over here means diameter. So 8 inches in diameter is the circle. So let me introduce you the circle command. So the circle command is over here on your ribbon. That's circle. But let me show you the keyboard shortcut. So the keyboard shortcut is CI, and you can press enter at this time. So following instructions says specify center point for circle. So we don't know the exact distance where we should start our circle. So that's okay. We can figure that out by using this next technique. So I'm going to start again on the side by specifying my certain center point. So I'm going to click. And then if I move up or down, I'm going to start drawing the circle, but I need the circle to be 8 inches in diameter. So for that, let's click the diameter option over here. So let's click on it. And let's type 8 inches. So 8 and press enter. So once we do that, we have our first circle. However, this circle looks very, very big, right? Comparing to this. So if I move this circle using the move command, I can simply move it over here. And I think it's okay, I think. Yeah, I think it's okay. All right. So let's draw the next circle at 6 inches. So again, CI, press enter. And the distance, I don't think we have a distance between these two circles. So let's draw a circle first, and then we will figure it out. So center point, I'm gonna click over here, and then diameter, let's select that option, and the diameter is gonna be 6 inches. So 6 inches, press enter, and we will have our two circles like so. So at this point, I don't need to draw these other two circles because we can simply copy and reuse these two circles. They are the same size. So, but what we need is to put them at the distance of 2 inches. You can see 2 inches between these two circles. So let's do that. Let's select the circle and use the move command with its keyboard shortcut M. Press enter. And we can use the quadrant option if you're not seeing it on your screen. Again, let's go to the object snap options, and there is an option here called quadrant. So make sure that's checked and select it. So let's select now this point over here, and let's move it to this other point like so. So we have that right there, and we know it's 2 inches. So let's move it down, M for move, and let's move it down 2 inches and press enter. So as you can see, now we have the exact distance between the two circles. So now what we can do is simply copy these objects to the side with a distance of 2 inches also over here. So let's copy those objects using a new command for you called copy. The copy command is the CO keyboard shortcut. So let's press enter. And following instructions says specify base point. So I want to specify this base point over here. So click and then I specify second point. So I can click over here, right? And then move it 2 inches. But let me show you another trick, your second, I think, trick from today's live show, which is how to specify or move or copy an object from a certain distance. So the trick is to hold shift on your keyboard and right click. And again, there is an option here that says from. So from, we can select that option. So let's click on it. And that means I can select a distance from a base point. So as you can see, it says from base point. So that means I can select my base point, which is going to be here, click, and then my distance, it's going to be 2 inches over here, right? So move here and type 2, and now I can press enter. And boom, I can press escape now to finish. You can see that I copy these objects to the side uh, using a distance of 2 inches. And again, that was a trick by holding the shift, right click and pick from. So now what I need to do is simply flip these two objects. So the way I'm gonna do it is selecting it and using the mirror command that we used before. So mirror, press enter. And now what I need is to specify my mirror line. So my mirror line had to be exactly on the center of these 2 points. How do I do that? Well, using the trick that we used before. Holding shift, right click, and say middle between 2 points. So let's click. So I'm gonna select this point and this other point. So that way my mirror line is exactly on the middle. So now if I move right or left like so and click, and finally it says erase source objects. In this case, yes, I want to erase the source objects. I don't want to keep 4 circles here. I only need 2. So I'm gonna click the yes option, and boom, you can see I successfully drew my oven. So finally, let's move this to the correct location. Again, we don't have a distance from the beginning of the circle, but we can figure that out. The way we're gonna do it is with this other technique. So let's select all of our objects and let's move them over here. And the way I'm gonna do it is move it from the center point and move it exactly in the center of this rectangle. So let's use M command, press enter, and again I need exactly the middle of these objects. So the way I'm gonna do it is holding shift, right click, middle between 2 points, click. So my middle between 2 points would be this corner, click, and this other corner over here, click. So that way I have exactly grabbed my 4 objects from the middle point. So now that means I can move it over here on this kitchen, and again I'm gonna hold the shift keyboard and the shift key, right click, middle between 2 points. Now that means I can select 2 points. So for instance, this point, click, and then this other corner, click, and boom. That way I placed my kitchen like so, and then I didn't need exactly the distance to do so. All right. So let's finalize this by simply offsetting some of these circles. So we know this is 1 inch, so that's 1 inch too. So we have 1, 2 of this. So let's offset it using the O for the keyboard. Offset, press enter, and 1 inch, press enter. And let's select our object, move in, select our object, move in, and for this also, so select, move in, select, move in, and then for this other one also we can start selecting and moving in some of our objects like so. All right, so very quick and easy. Now we can press escape. Awesome. We finalize our kitchen and let's keep moving to wrap this up. So let's keep moving. We have this last piece for our kitchen, which is our sink. So our sink is, again, let's start with the overall dimensions for our sink, which is 2 feet 8 by 2 feet 8 by, so that's 1 foot 5 plus 2 inches plus 4 inches. So that's 1 foot and 7. All right. So let's do a polyline for this. Again, I could use the rectangle command. I could use, line command. I could just basically many different ways, right? But I'm going to use the rectangle command in this example. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to draw, so 2 foot 8 rectangle, REC, press enter, and I'm going to specify my start point. So let's think for a second. Do we know the start point for this sink? We don't have a dimension over here in this side. So I would say no, we don't have it. But we know it's exactly in the middle of this window. So then in that case, let's draw it into the side, because again, we don't know the coordinates where this sink start or this rectangle. So that's not a problem. We can still place it exactly on the correct location. So let's click for starting our rectangle, and then we pick the dimension. And for the length, we know is 2 feet 2 feet 8, right? So let's type 2 feet 8, 2 feet 8, and let's press enter. And for our width, we don't have exactly the distance for the overall sink, but we have 1 foot 5, we have 2 inches, and we have 4 inches. So that will give us 11 inches. So that's 1 foot 11. So let's type that out and press enter. And now we have our rectangle. So at this point, we don't care where we click next. So I'm gonna click over here. And now we have our sink. So next, let's draw a 4 inches line over here for our sink. So as that's easy for us, we already did this so many times. Line, enter, hover, move up 4 inches, press enter, and go and click and press escape. That was easy, right? So we already did this, I think, 10 times. By this time, you already got used to it. So next, we have two rectangles over here. The distance Okay, we don't have the distance of these rectangles, and that's an issue, but we can still figure it out. Why? Oh, I mean, how? Well, we know the distance of 2 inches is all around, so we can use that. All right, so 2 inches. Let's draw or offset these 2 inches, right? Offset with O, enter, 2 inches, enter. Let's offset this line up, like so, 2 inches. Now we can offset also 2 inches over here. So let's offset that 2 inches and move it down, like so, and press escape. All right, so at this point, let's clean some of these lines that we don't need using the trim command. ER, press enter. Let's trim this line, these other lines that we don't need. And let's also trim this line, this, and these other lines, like so. All right, so let's press escape. So now we kind of have our sink, but we still need 2 inches over here. Again, we don't know the distance of our rectangles over here, but we can still figure this out. So the way I'm gonna do it is draw a line on the center. So with the regular line command, L enter, draw it exactly on the midpoint, click, and click like so, and press escape. So that means I need 2 inches over here. So that means I'm gonna offset it 1 inch using the O for the offset command. And I'm gonna offset it 1 inch. 1, press escape. Sorry, press enter. And click this line, move it to the right, and finally click this line and move it to the left. So I can press escape and erase my middle line now. So to erase an object, simply use the delete key, key on your keyboard, and that way you will have 2 inches exactly on the middle. So at this point, I can use the trim command and start cleaning some of these lines like so, and press escape. So we are almost there with our sink, right? So we could figure it out even though sometimes we don't have dimensions or distances of objects, we can still figure it out. So now what I'm gonna do is draw these circles on the center. The circle is a diameter of 2 inches. You can see it. So I'm gonna draw a circle. CI, that's the shortcut if you remember, and press enter. So at this point, I want my circle to be exactly on the center. So the way I'm gonna do it is, again, using that trick that we used before, holding shift, right click, middle between 2 points. So I'm gonna click here and click here. So once I do that, I'm gonna start my circle exactly on the middle of this square. So let's pick the diameter option, and the diameter is 2 inches. So let's type 2 and press enter. And boom, we have our circle. So let's select that circle and let's mirror it to this other side. So MI for mirror, press enter, specify mirror line. It's gonna be here on the center. Click, move up or down, doesn't matter. Let's click and let's press escape. Oops, we say no to mirror or copy that object. That's not what we want. Let's quickly do it again. So MI, enter, click this object, move down, and then erase source object. We say no because we don't want erase it. No. And yeah, we have our circle and our sink. Finally, the last step is to draw these or round these corners, right? So it's saying that this is rounded a distance round of 2 inches, and this is other rounded at 1 inch. Those corners are a radius of inch and 2 inches. So how do we do that? That we do it giving you a new command. It's called fillet. So the fillet command, it's right here on the ribbon, but we could also use a keyboard shortcut F and press enter. So following the instructions says select first object. Um, but first we need to specify our radius. Right now our radius is 0. So over here is saying the radius 2 inches. So let's pick this option radius and let's specify it. So 2 inches, press enter. Now we can start selecting our first object. So our first object would be this line, click, and then our second object would be this line. Notice what happened once I hover over this other line. So that's what we need. So let's click and boom, you just rounded your corner for your sink. So let's do the same procedure for this other corner, and I'm gonna press enter to activate the fillet command again, the last command that we used. So click and boom. Now for the other corners, it's 1 inch. So let's activate the fillet by pressing the enter, and let's change the radius to 1. Press enter, and there is an option here that says multiple. So that means we can quickly fillet many multiple corners. So let's select that multiple, and let's start selecting our objects like so, and you can see how quickly we can start rounding some of these corners of our sink. All right, I can press escape at this point, and we have completed our sink. So now what we need to do is place our sink. So we're gonna select our sink, and again we don't have a distance from the wall, but we know it's exactly on the center of the window or the wall. So let's move this using the M shortcut for move. Press enter. Let's pick an strategic base point, because again the instructions is asking to pick a base point. So if I pick my base point over here, that wouldn't be smart, right? Because I need to place it exactly on the center as my reference shows. So that's why I'm gonna pick my sink from this midpoint. So click. Next is saying specify second point. So I know it's exactly on the center of this wall. So I'm gonna click, and boom, you can see how I placed my sink like so. All right, so let's keep moving because what else? So we have a 2 feet. We have a 2 feet counter over here. So let's do that. So let's draw a line again. We already did this many times. L enter. From this point, hover up 2 feet, press enter, and then move this all the way up here like so, and then press escape. All right. So that's our kitchen. I think we're almost there to wrap this up. So what we need now is what do we need now? I think okay, we need some hatches. So as you can see, this wall, um, it has these kind of squares inside that represents a special wall, in this case a CMU wall. So we can do that by using the hatch command. So let me show you how. So this is a new command. So let's type the keyboard shortcut. It's over here on your ribbon, hatch. But let me show you the keyboard shortcut. And that is the H. So once we press enter, again, following instruction says pick internal point. So what I like to do before I pick internal point is select my pattern. So the pattern that looks similar to this CMU hatch. So let's expand this by clicking on this triangle. And the pattern that I want to use that is exactly the same is this ANSI 37. So you can see it looks identical. So let's click. And finally, let's follow instructions says pick internal point. So I'm gonna pick over here, click, and then I'm gonna also pick over here um, on this wall, right? So click, and finally on this other wall, click, and then I can press enter to finalize my hatch command. Now, this doesn't look exactly as my reference drawing. So this is because we need a different scale. So if you zoom in, you can see that the rectangles or that diamonds are, very, very tiny. So let's fix that by simply selecting our hatch and going to the ribbon. You can see that Autocad is giving us many different options. The option that we need is the hatch pattern scale. So let's change the scale to something like, let's try 50, and that's huge. So let's try 10. Press enter, and that looks about right to me. So let's press escape. And yep, so that's the hatch command. And we will need this other hatch over here that represent the flooring. All right. So the flooring, again, it's, if you see it, is basically the same hatch. It's just a different scale. So let's do that quickly. In order to do so, we need to close over here this kitchen, because the hatch command will work only on enclosed areas like this enclosed wall, but this is open, right? So that's not a problem. We can simply draw a couple of lines over here to kind of close this up, and then we can erase them later, right? So we can see that we have still an opening over here. So let's close this with a line. So that way we can use the hatch command again on this enclosed area. So let's do hatch or H key. And again, we can pick our internal point over here and press enter. So the reason why I didn't pick my hatch pattern is because I wanted to introduce you a new command also. So another command that is very helpful is called match properties. So it's the MA on your keyboard. So this command will again match certain properties from other objects. So the keyboard is MA, press enter. And what we need to do is match the properties from this hatch to be exactly on this other hatch. So select source object is asking. My source object is this hatch. So I'm going to click and then select destination object. would be this other hatch. So click on it and boom, you can see that now I can press escape and these are exactly the same hatch. But we need to change the scale, right? You can see our reference drawing. So let's select that and we know how to change the scale already. So let's change it to something like 50. No, that's really huge. Let's change it to something like 25. Um, I'll say 35. All right. So yeah, that's the kitchen, and I think we are not missing. We have the refrigerator, counter, kitchen, and window, and yeah. So yes, so that's the kitchen layout, and hopefully you learn something new, some techniques, some tricks also, and some new commands in AutoCAD. And on our next live stream, we're gonna focus on layout or paper space. So how we're gonna set this up, how we're gonna print it, create a PDF, and more. Now working on layout. All right. So before we wrap up today's live show, let's go to the chat and see what do you guys think about today's live show. Hopefully, you learned AutoCAD with this exercise. And yeah, so what do you guys think? Let me know in the chat before we wrap up today's live show. Again, for our second part, um, we're gonna focus on layout space, or also called paper space. Um, so let me read some of your comments before we wrap up today's slideshow. We have 9 people connected on the chat. That's awesome that you guys are still with me on this live show. And let's see, what do you guys think? All right. If you don't have questions or suggestions for our future live shows, before I forget, I need to mention something very important. While you leave your question, um, I want to thank you to these folks. These are people who support my work, either on Patreon or on YouTube as a YouTube member. Thank you very much for supporting my work, for believing on what I do. Thank you. And so let's see if you have questions again before we wrap up today's live show. Okay. We still have 8 people connected. That's awesome that you are still here with me. That means you did follow along with the tutorial on how to learn AutoCAD with this exercise as a total beginner. So, all right, so hopefully I can see you here next week with a new live stream regarding AutoCAD. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you.